Okay.
Stroll! Don't be a fool. Just run for it.
Oh, fate-saddled child.
Huh?
Oh, anguished traveler.
Well, Deus Ex Machina.
Thy fate is crown-twined, thy soul bound for the throne. The future yet unknown dawns in this moment. Thy path may fork, but only one may be chosen. Confront the threat before thee, or die here in obscurity. Now choose.
Not a hard choice.
So be it. Heroism lies in the soul that stands firm against its fears. Power awaits thy command. The time is come to awaken the hero within. Engrave thy very heart.
Persona time. Oh! Okay, in a little sense. Okay. You just took your heart out. In a sense. Wow, that was brutal. And cool. Well, it's definitely Persona time. Well, that's a hell of an anime power-up, if I say myself. Okay, that means there's gonna be... That is so badass. Well, you certainly awakened. Oh, that's so pretty cool. Let's do this. Yeah, Team Asobi absolutely deserves Astropha. I am Astropha. Okay. Alright, so this is not a good morning, good afternoon yet. That will be coming pretty later, but I might as well start the timer because I kind of wanted to go over briefly about the Game of the Years and why certain games would probably win Game of the Year. So I'll try to make it short, and just like I've been doing for most of my kind of like meta commentary or like really short clips, I try to make it a minute at a time to emphasize of, hey, this is the point I'm trying to make. So yeah, let's just begin. I think we should do it. And also, you can also check out my live stream and see what games I voted for each Video Game Awards for 2024. But you already know my opinion of what I want to win Game of the Year, but it probably won't win, but it would be cool if it won. Alright, now, starting the timer now. Alright, so the first game that was mentioned of Game of the Year was Astrobot by Team Asobi, or Sony, or SIE. You already know what that stands for. Anyway, why would people actually want Astrobot to win? Two reasons. One, it's fun. Two, it's a love letter to Mario. It's a love letter, it's PlayStation's Mario. And Sony knows it. And that's why it's gonna probably... There's a good reason why. It's fun. It looks innovative. It looks creative. This is giving people what they wanted. After Concord, this was kind of like the saving throw. I'm trying to say saving grace, but you get what I'm saying. This was the game that PlayStation needed, and it absolutely succeeded. This is such a... It's such a fun game. It's such an adorable, fun game that I hope it actually does win. If Astrobot doesn't win, it's okay. I'm just glad it was nominated. Now, let's move on to the next clip. This is not about Dave the Diver. This is not about Dave the Diver. This is about Balatro. I couldn't find a retro game, or I wanted to show Balatro, but it was a video game trial, so I couldn't do it. Balatro by Loco Thunk / Playstack. It was a fantastic poker retro game, or a roguelike poker game. Roguelike and poker blended so seamlessly well that it was fantastic. I can highly recommend Balatro. And even if it doesn't win, I'm just glad that it was acknowledged as Game of the Year. I feel like Animal Will could have probably been Game of the Year, but Balatro was just like next level in terms of like a roguelike and freaking poker. It made me addicted to poker in a video game. That's a testament to itself of how fantastic the game design is. Even if it doesn't win, I was just honored that I got to play it. Let's move on to the next clip. This was kind of a similar game to Black Myth Wukong, but of course they're going to be vastly different. But I figure similar game as much as we can make comparisons say. So, Black Myth Wukong, Game Science. This is their debut game, and they have done exceptionally well because of over 1 million, or is it 24 million units they sold. We can say that this, based on the story Enslaved Odyssey to the West, yeah, it did exceptionally well. Even I'm surprised. Even I want to play it. You know, whenever a demo comes out, or maybe the game will come on PlayStation Plus Essential, or Extra and Premium. All I know is people are talking about this non-stop. And I can see why. Black Myth Wukong seems like it delivered on a lot of fronts, and even though some of the journalisms for some video game journalism have been trying to deny it and try to push it down, man, it comes out swinging. Let's move on to the next clip. I mean, it makes sense why this DLC, because if you love Elden Ring, of course you're gonna put it as a Game of the Year contender. I don't think it deserves it, and I'm an Elden Ring fan. If I'm saying it doesn't deserve to be Game of the Year, I think it needs to be in Best Expansion or Best DLC, because it was literally the only DLC, I'm sorry, it was the only noteworthy DLC / expansion that came out this year. But it doesn't make sense that it's Game of the Year. But hey, I'm happy that it's Game of the Year, but I don't think it deserved to be. But hey, I mean, it's more Elden Ring, what more can you ask for? But guys, I'm gonna be also kind of like with the majority. I just don't think a DLC is pushing the envelope. It's nothing innovative. This is just an expansion of what made the original game great. I mean, there's nothing more I can say. Let's move on to the next clip. Even if it doesn't win, I'm very glad, again, that a Final Fantasy game was nominated as Game of the Year. I think Square Enix always kill, not always, but majority of the time, they kill it with their Final Fantasy games. Even though Final Fantasy 16 pretty much got snubbed last year, at least it got acknowledged for score and performance and so on, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is just that game, that Final Fantasy VII Remake, that natural step that it needed to do. So I'm glad that it was Game of the Year. It makes sense this game is Game of the Year instead of Shadow of the Erdtree. Shadow of the Erdtree is a DLC. Even though Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a remake, I think it's a well-deserved Game of the Year nomination that, hey, I do not mind. Most likely Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is not going to win, but gosh, that music's so fantastic. But yeah, I'm glad and I'm honored that we actually got it this year. Okay, let's move on to the next year. I mean, it was pretty obvious, and I really hope it wins. I really do. More than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and more than Astrobot. And there, I said it. Metaphor Repentizio. Why? Because I played it a good chunk of time. I'm invested. And even I give it a 10 out of 10 in terms of just the demo itself. I think it absolutely deserves to win Game of the Year. But even if it doesn't win, it was an honor to play this game too. I think this is, in terms of what 2024, even though it was short supply of games and we just didn't get like those big bangers, Metaphor Repentizio was that banger. It was that game that defined this year in terms of Game of the Year. I think so. I think it pushed the envelope. I think it went outside the box. I think it did everything right that it needed to. And if I have to have a flaw, I just can't find a flaw with this game. I stopped the timer, by the way. Okay, so in terms of the Game of the Year, what I want to win? Metaphor Repentizio. But if I have to give it like an objective, like I have to pick like 3 games, like the top 3 games, Metaphor Repentizio is the first one, then Astrobot, then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is not a disappointing game. They're probably, whatever people are saying about the, I don't think it looks disappointing. I enjoyed my time with it in terms of the demo. I would buy it. If it came to PlayStation Extra and Premium, you best believe I would be playing that game. But it didn't. But Metaphor Repentizio was just next level, that games need to set to that standard of how to do something that is already established RPG mechanics wise, and then just do something experimentation done well. Even if people are not a fan of like just Atlas or Studio Zero, since I think this is their debut game, what a way to swing! What a way to get into the video game industry this way. This music is just fantastic in itself. Man, they are doing. Gosh, yeah. But what are the games that would win? Black Myth Wukong or Shadow of the Erdtree? It's because of like whatever. If this is rigged, because I feel like this video game awards would be rigged. What they basically geared this towards Shadow of the Erdtree or Black Myth Wukong? Absolutely. No one would be surprised if Shadow of the Erdtree won. And I said it in my live stream. If Shadow of the Erdtree did win, sadly, then that means developers are not going to try as much. No one is going to try to push for creativity, competition, or try to outdo. Let's just say outdo Baldur's Gate 3, if that's physically possible. I mean, it is, but still. If no one tries, and they just make a DLC of an existing project, that's all we're going to get these upcoming years. That's not what we want. We want full-fledged games. We want, like, Astrobot. We want Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We want Metaphor ReFantazio. We want games like that. You want us to be the fundamental definition of fun and just kind of, like, be a video game and keep us immersed. You don't want a DLC that you get half of the experience of a game that was already fantastic, and that's the standard. You don't want just something that you give us half of the game. I don't want video game developers to get comfortable of just making DLC and that's it, because it wins. We get it. Elden Ring was fantastic. I can vouch for that. I have played 87 hours and still counting. Elden Ring is fantastic. But I don't think Shadow of the Erdtree, a DLC, should win, because that's just a DLC. As much as it's what people want, or not what people want, that's what the like higher-ups, or basically what the Game Awards, they want Erdtree to win just because of the Elden Ring namesake. I just don't think that's a good idea to just have a DLC. I think, if I'm being honest, I think Shadow of the Erdtree should have been replaced with either Helldivers 2 or Animal Well, if I'm going to be honest, because those were new titles. Those were things that were released in 2024. They were not DLCs. Helldivers 2 was a live service game, yes, but it was a success, and it came out this year, and nobody was expecting it. Animal Well was shadow drop, and nobody was expecting it, but it did well for an indie game. You see what I mean there? Because they were fun. And I'm not saying that Shadow of the Erdtree is not fun, but they were something that was a full-fledged game. An actual video game. Not a DLC. I'm not gonna knock a DLC for being that good. I mean, Shadow of the Erdtree, more power to you. I think it delivered. I think it actually did Elden Ring justice still. But I don't think it should be Game of the Year. I don't think that should be a standard. I don't think that should be a Game of the Year. I think they should... You know what I mean? That's the frustration. That's the frustration that you do push all these full games, but these were games like Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio were actual full projects, not DLCs. And they should be acknowledged for it. And they should absolutely win Game of the Year. Those other projects. Because they are full-fledged products. They are not just half a product. That's not what we want. Anyway, that's kind of my mini rant, and that was about 6 minutes, but that's the point I'm trying to make, guys. We shouldn't be comfortable with half a game. We should be comfortable for something like that. We want experience to last more than 5 hours. Well, Shadow of the Erdtree probably doesn't last like 5 hours. It probably lasts longer than that, but that's besides the point. Now, in the back of my mind, of course, and I might be contradicting myself, of course, I'm happy that Shadow of the Erdtree and Elden Ring is just getting nominated again. I just don't think it should have been for DLC. I think it should have just been like best DLC, best expansion. And everyone is saying the same bloody thing. Of course, we don't want We don't want that. We don't want a DLC to be comfortable as Game of the Year, because now that sets the standard of, oh, I can make a DLC and that'll be Game of the Year. And I'm like, no, that's not what it's about. Anyway, I'm done. Now, we're gonna actually start the video game walkthrough. I'm gonna take a break. It's gonna be Returnal. You already knew this. And now, hold on. Did it start me back over? Yeah, it did. Which I kind of expected. Because I basically was in the menu, but that's okay. Well, I figure it was fitting to end it with Metaphor Reef and Ezio. Even if it doesn't win, that's completely okay. I got to play a masterpiece. There, I said it. Alright, let's move on to the next clip.